Friends of old, welcome back to Balrogs and Blasters, fantasy, sci-fi, and everything in between. We are back, full strength. Myself, Sam, and sitting across from me is Patrick. Patrick, hello.
Hello. I'm a big old sexy boy this week.
What is different this week?
I'm just feeling better than last week.
Oh, well, that's exactly what you need in order to feel a big old sexy boy. We have got a load of things we want to talk about this week, I think, Patrick. We've got a good chunk of news that we want to get through. The stuff about Beetlejuice 2, stuff about Tim Burton's opinions about The Flash. We've got a couple of trailers we're going to talk about. We've got an Xbox leak. We've got Fist of the North Star. We've got Nicolas Cage doing stuff. We've got bits and pieces about Daredevil Born Again and Troll 2 and Gargoyles and Grasses. We've got loads of stuff we're going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about it all now because then no one needs to listen to it. And then what we're going to do after that is we're going to talk about some Halloween-y bits and pieces that we're going to go through. I know you said not to say Halloween-y, but I didn't mean it as like...
You are a Halloweeny.
Yeah, I didn't mean like a Halloween sausage. I meant like Halloween-like, so that's fine. And we're going to talk about some
pumpkin
of the...
spice sausage.
Sorry?
A pumpkin spice sausage, please.
Oh, this is your... Oh, that's excellent. Sorry, I didn't realize that you were doing like a riff on it. I should have followed on with it. I should have yes-anded it. And then after that, we're going to talk about Halloween books that we're going to be planning to read over the course of October. We're taking slightly different approaches to it, and we're going to run through that. So why don't we just kick things off? Patrick, did you have any idea that Beetlejuice 2 was happening?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
They announced it a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
I remember. And yeah, everyone's coming back. Well, mostly everyone. And we're also getting Jenna Ortega.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thrown in there.
And Monica Bellucci being thrown in there.
Monica Bellucci.
Wait, what do you mean, Monica Bellucci? That's not what you'd say if she like knocked on your door. You'd be like, oh, hello, Monica Bellucci.
She's not spooky enough for me.
No?
No.
I think she would have made like a good Morticia Adams in
What's she playing in it? Do we know?
She's Beetlejuice's wife. Mrs. Juice.
Mrs. Juice.
Yeah. And then obviously, Alec Baldwin's not coming back, and Jeffrey Jones isn't coming back because
Gina Davis?
Gina Davis, I don't think is coming back now.
Oh.
But the majority of the folks coming back, which is...
Are the football players coming back?
What?
The American football players?
I don't think so.
Oh, all right. They're my favorite part.
No, see, I completely spaced on this because obviously, like a few years ago, it was all like Beetlejuice Goes Hawaii and rumors of like things they wanted to do for like the original sequel, and then I just started seeing things about it in the news, and I assumed like Tim Burton had done an interview, and they just asked him like, "What would happen if you were going to do like Beetlejuice 2?" But then it turns out he is doing Beetlejuice. Well, Beetlejuice 2 is being done, so yeah, I'm super excited for that. Next September, it's coming out. Just in time for next Halloween.
Yeah,
exciting. But yeah, I'm all on for Michael Keaton doing pretty much whatever the hell he wants. I feel like he's having like, you know, a few years ago where Harrison Ford was like, "Yeah, I'm just going to remake all the things that I made back in the day, and then I'll see
it
if
belongs in the museum."
Yeah, he belongs in the museum. Oh man, I'm going to tell you about that in a second. But like, yeah, it seems like Michael Keaton's still having his Keatonaissance. He's still like going strong with it, but now he's going back to stuff that he did do. So he did, you know, Batman, and now he's going to do Beetlejuice again. Yeah. Maybe he'll come back for Multiplicity 2.
Okay.
No?
It's or Mr. Mom.
Mr. Mom 2, yeah.
Mr. Grandma.
That would work. That would be great. The thing I was going to say about Harrison Ford was I watched Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, finally. I couldn't watch it without worrying that he was going to like fall down.
Yes.
He's
quite frail now.
Yeah, I was watching. I was like, "Oh, be careful on those boxes, Indiana!" Like it seemed.
It was 2 hours of elder abuse, really.
Oh man, people were not happy with him.
No, especially that really, really tall Nazi.
Yeah,
Nazi. I hate Nazis.
Yeah, I mean, what does he hate more, Nazis or snakes?
Nazis.
Yeah. I suppose he's more afraid of snakes. He doesn't seem afraid of Nazis.
No, like he's not going to war with snakes.
Yeah. Now, if Mads Mikkelsen had like taken off his Nazi uniform and turned out he was a snake, that's
just a bag of snakes.
That's the ultimate villain for Indiana Jones. So moving on from that, staying with kind of Tim Burton-y stuff. So Tim Burton was interviewed, and they asked him about the. I suppose this is spoilers for The Flash, but yeah, I've said it, so it's fine. The whole.
Anyone who's going to watch The Flash has watched The Flash. No one's.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. So there's a bit at the end where they show all the different worlds colliding, and it's all the different DC universes, and then you've got Christopher Reeve Superman and the old black and white Superman whose name I can't remember at the moment. And then you have Nicolas Cage in his incomplete Superman movie, which was Superman Lives, and the whole idea of it was that he was going to fight like a giant spider, and it was all kind of insider Hollywoody rumors, and then there was that documentary about it. And then this seems to be like the ultimate kind of fan service for it by making him basically appear. It all seems CG, and I don't think Nicolas Cage was actually in it.
No.
But they asked Tim Burton what he thought about it, and he said, it goes into another AI thing, and this is why I think I'm over it with the studio. They can take what you did, Batman or whatever, and culturally misappropriate it, or whatever you want to call it. Even though you're a slave of Disney or Warner Brothers, they can do whatever they want. So in my latter years of life, I'm in quiet revolt against all this. So yeah, it doesn't seem... I figured that they would have asked him about it. Like, they would have asked if it was okay for them to do it, but maybe they didn't have to.
They don't have
so
to.
They chose not to.
He doesn't own the rights. He has no say in it.
Which is weird, like, I suppose, because you kind of figure he has such kind of like a stylistic ownership of all that stuff, but in reality, he doesn't really.
Like, did he have anything to say about Batman? Because it was his Batman.
No, he talked about a bit more about that he had no regrets about trying to do Superman Lives, but he didn't have any other. Not that I saw, but any other.
Yeah, so like it just seems a bit hypocritical that he's giving out about Superman, which he obviously thinks is his. Well, at least that iteration was his creation.
Yeah,
but he's okay with Batman being dug out of the
maybe
out of the closet with the mothballs, and
maybe he wasn't. Maybe they just didn't ask about it.
Yeah,
or maybe I didn't do enough research to find out.
No. I really don't. I really think he only focused on the Superman cameo.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean into these segues here. We were talking about Nicolas Cage there. Why don't we have a quick talk about the 2 Nicolas Cage trailers that came out?
I don't really want to talk about the trailers.
Okay.
I really want to just talk about the fact that he has embraced the fact that he is bald and he is not wearing his wigs in both of these trailers. 2 trailers came out the same day, both bald Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. You're talking about Butcher's Crossing and Dream Scenario.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. The films, they look fine. I'm just more interested in the fact that he's not hiding his baldness.
Do you think this is an indication that he is embracing a part of himself? Is this him cracked wide open, or is he just being like, "Oh, I can't even be bothered with wigs"?
I feel like it's the Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber, where he just removes his tooth. It's like, oh, I can do that, and he just removed his hair. that was my feeling. That's the impression I get while I was watching it.
Yeah,
it's just more interesting. Like, he is still dedicated to that rug and the different types of rugs that he wears.
Yeah.
But I think it's the first time that we've really seen him.
Yeah.
Bald.
And he's had some impressive wigs over the years. Like, we can talk about Con Air, and we can talk about, his hair on like Snake Eyes and Face Off and all that. Like, it's a strong contribution to his performance. But like, yeah, the fact that he's just going the way he is makes perfect sense. And also, these 2 movies, I don't think they'd benefit from him having like wigs on, because one of them he's supposed to be like a middle-aged everyman who for some reason is in people's dreams, and then the other one is that he's a lunatic buffalo hunter in the Old West. And then I actually think in the Butcher's Crossing trailer, at one point he's shaving his head. Yeah, which is like a power move.
No, it's more just as a bald man, as someone who is also a big fan of Nicolas Cage, and someone who at one stage did look a little bit like Nicolas Cage in my college years. I'm just quite happy to see him embrace it.
Yeah,
that's all.
I am the same, even though I don't look anything like Nicolas Cage.
You are going bald.
What? I told you.
Oh, sorry, that's the next news.
That's the next bit of news. Sam's going bald. Why didn't no one tell me about this? Okay, so since we're talking about trailers, let's talk about. You wanted to talk about the fact that Bluey the video game is.
Oh yes, the gaming event of the year, Bluey the video game.
Now, so we're both dads, so
yeah,
Bluey is in our orbit as like a cartoon that is for young kids, but also
I would
some
actually.
grown-ups seem to really enjoy as well.
I would say it's the other way. I'd say it's a cartoon for adults that kids can enjoy.
Oh, like SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like it was pitched for adults first, and then the kid stuff came after.
You could definitely see it being pitched.
Some of it is quite dark.
Yeah.
There's definitely one about infertility with an ant. There's stuff about death. They cover.
If you got Disney
Heavy
Plus,
topic.
give it a runny old watch.
But yes, the game multiplayer. You can play up
Yeah.
to 4 characters.
Yeah.
Mom, Dad, Bingo, Bluey.
You forgot the names. Yep.
Oh no! I was sorry. I was swallowing some water there. Bingo and Bluey, of course. You're in their house.
Yeah.
It's very well animated from what I can see. I'm gonna play it. We'll probably we might live stream it on the Balrogs and Blasters Twitch stream.
Yeah. I'm very happy to do that. I'm also not super jazzed about how it looks based on the trailer. Only because I watched the PS5 trailer and it's doing that animation of, because it's 2D animation.
Yeah.
But they're doing a thing of like it's in a 3D setting, so you either like move up and down.
Yeah.
But then sometimes they move diagonally, and it's like the diagonal animation.
It worked very well for the South Park video games, The Stick of Truth and
Fractured But Whole.
Yeah. So I think it's in keeping with the style of the animation.
Yeah.
So I'm quite happy with it. But yeah.
Well, I hate it, but I'm looking forward to playing it.
Hate is a strong word.
Speaking of hate, I'm going to stick with that. Speaking of hate, Stephen DeKnight, who was the showrunner for Daredevil way back when it was on Netflix, he has come out basically saying that Daredevil Born Again is part of a scam run that Disney do. This kind of came up recently, and I was reading about it, where basically sometimes if like Disney brings a show back, they'll change the name of the show, so it's not technically under the contracts of the old show, and they can basically go back to basics and pay people whatever they want to pay, and not give people royalties or residuals. So there was a sequence of tweets where basically someone said
X's.
Sorry,
X's.
Is that what they're called?
I think so.
I would have called them like crosses.
No,
hey, that's
the company's called X now.
That's me. That's me trying to like tidy around this massive dumpster fire. So someone X'd. Not only did they cancel Twitter once. Sorry, I'm going to start that again because I wasn't reading it properly. Not only did they cancel Daredevil once crew got full raise and holiday vacation pay, the Disney Plus reboot is back to season 1 IATSE contract terms. It's a effing scam. I wonder if Stephen tonight knows that. Stephen came back and said, he does. It's an old Disney scam where they slightly rename a series to reset contract terms back to first season. Needs to be addressed by all the guilds and unions and crushed. And in another part, he said, from what I understand, I'm not going to see a penny from Daredevil Born Again because they added the Born Again and can claim it's a completely different show, with the exact same 2 lead actors playing Daredevil and Fisk.
So I'm of 2 minds about this one because, first of all, it's going to be a Disney Plus show. It's not going to be that brutal Netflix style. I don't think we're going to get that.
Yeah,
I have a feeling tonally it's going to be very different to what Netflix did, and it's not going to be continuing on the storylines that were started in the Netflix TV series.
Yeah.
So on that side, I think why would he get residuals? Just because it's the same 2 actors, 2 actors who are perfectly cast for those roles.
Yeah.
Would he have been happier if those 2 people who were perfect in those roles were just discarded and 2 new people came in, and then he wouldn't have anything to complain about? I don't think so. But also, Disney do this.
Yeah.
And it's shocking. But I don't think he I don't think he has a leg to stand on here, really.
Well, I suppose that's the question of it. Like, I'd say they would probably have taken a similar tact if the show was going to be exactly the same. They potentially could have. Like, it just, in this situation, it is going to be different in that way that you say. So yeah, it's, as you say, there's 2 ways to look at it, but also it's kind of crappy in general as a tact from Disney side of things. Having also said that, I'm sure Disney aren't the only company that do it.
Oh no,
but it also needs to be kind of crushed and got rid of. But I tell you what, I don't want to get rid of, Patrick, and that is the news that we got about Troll 2. Now, not Troll 2, the movie that came out in the 80s, that is that cult classic of being a terrible movie with the blue Power Ranger. It's a sequel to the Netflix movie that came out not a long time ago.
The Nordic one.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah. So they're making a sequel to it, which is very exciting. Like they say, it's going to be. They're going to begin. Well, they said they're going to they're going to begin production in 2024. But I don't know what that has to do in relation to the strikes and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're saying it will be a 2025 Netflix release, possible at the earliest. So that means it could be any time after 2025. Oh, actually, sorry. Sorry, I'm just reading it here. So, like, it isn't concerned with the Hollywood strikes because it's a local production in Norway.
Yeah, that's the strikes only apply to America.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why we're going to be getting a load of Korean and German and European. Oh, Germany is obviously part of Europe. European movies going forward for the next year or so.
Yeah.
Because they were allowed to continue filming and do whatever they want.
I'm looking forward to a lot of like black and white French movies being recommended to me on Netflix.
No, thank you.
No?
I don't have Netflix.
Ah.
So I won't have to worry
about that. How will you source your black and white French movies?
I have La Haine. I don't need anything else.
What's La Haine?
La Haine, The Hate. It's a very good movie.
Oh, I thought that was a streaming service I didn't know about.
No, La Haine. You should watch it. It's very good.
Okay, what's it about?
It's set in the tenement blocks in Paris, and it's about drug dealing. It's about a lot of different things happening, but it's well worth watching.
Okay.
It's black and white. There's some famous French actors in it, and there's a cow.
Has it got?
Don't ask me to name any of them.
Has it got Jean Reno in it?
No.
Damn.
Not that
French actor I know. That can't be right.
And it doesn't have Gérard Depardieu.
Oh, I was going to say Jean Dujardin.
Ah. Pepe Le Pew.
One of those wasn't a real actor.
Go on.
Okay. So I was going to talk about on the also the game side of things. So Gargoyles Remastered is coming out.
Yes.
I was thinking about that. When I first saw that news, I was like, oh, they're remastering the TV series of Gargoyles, which I thought was strange because it's already just out on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. But no, they're remastering the 16-bit side-scrolling platform game. So, which is a game that I don't think either of us have played.
No.
But something that it's coming out on the 19th of October on Steam. So that's something we might do.
Yes.
Possibly have a play along with that one.
We'll do a let's play.
Yeah. Because
whatever we're going to call a series of
yeah, exactly,
games that's not copyright infringement.
Yeah, exactly. And because I always like revisiting these older games that were really designed for like 12-year-old kids who could just spend like 8 hours learning everything about the game because they're normally like notoriously difficult. Just
yes, games of that era very much just muscle memory. Just getting it beat into you.
You're like, why isn't there a story mode to the early 90s Batman Returns on Game Gear?
Yeah, and just while we're talking about those retro games, those 16-bit era games, the Super Pocket is going to be coming out at the end of October.
Yes.
So this is a small Game Boy shaped handheld. There's two variations: the Taito one, which has bubble bubble and things like that.
I loved you saying that.
And then the Capcom one. So that has Super Street Fighter and stuff like that. But it'll also play your Evercard cartridges, which I have. I have a load of them.
I was going to say, so you've used
Evercade.
Sorry. Evercade cartridges. Okay.
Yeah. So I have an Evercade over there
that
I don't really use because I don't like the form factor. It's very much the Game Gear style of form factor. Whereas I very much enjoy the Game Boy shape. So I've ordered the Taito one.
Oh, nice.
But it'll be coming out on the 22nd of October.
And which one did you order for me?
I have ordered you nothing. Bupkis.
Oh, man.
Zilch. Nada.
The one thing I noticed about when I was reading about the Super Pocket was that the brand behind the Super Pocket is Hyper Megatech, which I was pretty sure was Homer Simpson's internet company. Before I remembered, of course, that it was, Patch is going to try it.
Compudite? No.
No, CompuGlobal Hyper Mega Nets.
Yes, of course.
I say it was his internet company. He was, of course, junior vice president. And then I think just the last game thing I want to talk about is the Lord of the Rings game that's been announced this week from Private, who are doing it with Weta Workshop, I think.
Tales of the Shire.
Tales of the Shire. And the way you describe this is cozy.
That's what I got a feeling from the trailer. I still don't know what the game's about.
Yeah, no one seems to.
It seems to be centered around a female hobbit, I assume, who in the trailer is painting up a book. Painting up a book. That's not a phrase, but we'll go with it for now. Yeah. So I don't really know what it is. I don't know who. Is this isn't part of the Amazon deal for games, is it?
No, I don't believe so. It seems to be separate to that. Like, I'm looking forward to it. That people seem to think that it's going to be like, as you say, just like living in the life of a hobbit, and maybe like little kind of mini tasks that you can
also,
do.
Also, Animal Crossing in the Shire.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I would love something like that. Like, as much as I do love a lot of the games I'm playing at the moment, they are games where you want to play for like 2 or 3 hours.
Yes.
At a go. But I'm looking forward to one that I'm not saying that you necessarily play games on the toilet, but one you could play on the toilet and then just like play for like 10-15 minutes. Not I'm spending that long on the toilet, but just like
you would be if you're playing games.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how you damage yourself.
You talk to your brother and see if you can get you a Steam Deck.
That's my next job after I leave this recording.
Now, I do have 2 other video game pieces of news that I want to talk about.
Please, go right ahead.
The first one is the Unity game engine debacle. That's
right.
Happened.
Tell me about this.
So basically, Unity came out with new terms of service, and it was applying retroactively. So if you were a game developer, you paid a license, and there was various tiers, and there was even a free tier based off revenue and number of sales and stuff like that. But even the professional ones, like the people who were selling hundreds of thousands of units a year, there was a professional level for them, and that covered the licensing costs. Basically, what Unity wanted to do was every time someone installed the game, they were technically downloading the Unity framework. That's my understanding.
Yeah. And
they wanted to charge 5 or 25 cents for each one every time it happened.
Okay.
Loads of people, loads of developers pulled out of Unity development at that stage.
Yeah.
Unity rolled it back and said, no, it only applies to the first time they install it. Game developers are still not happy with that because they're saying, we're paying a professional license. Refund us the professional license and we'll do that. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
And Unity said no.
Yeah.
They also took down their terms of service on Friday. There's a big backlash about it on X. But Unity came out and said, well, no one was reading it, so we thought we'd take it down. So it wasn't their overall term of service, but it was a particular part of the ecosystem. So
yeah,
but it was still notable by its absence. So I just wanted to bring that up. Unity is great because it's in C#. It's an easier program to work with. There's other Unreal Engine would be another option, but that's all in C++ or much harder language to, well, not much harder language to program in, but definitely something that you'd have to upskill in if you've been using Unity for donkey's years, like most of these indie developers have been.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that I wanted to talk about.
That sounds vaguely, and I only use this as a comparison because a lot of that went over my head. It seems that very similar to kind of the way that Wizards of the Coast fecked up with their kind of attempts to essentially squeeze a bit more money out of third parties, and now it seems like they're just putting out fires.
Yeah. Now Unity have come out and said like this is only going to apply to people who use our game engine that's being released from 2024. This is their latest stance. So if you're developing something at the moment, it's not, or have already released something, this isn't going to apply. But still, I think they've burned the bridge there, and people are going to move over to Unreal. They're going to move over to other or start up new game engines and
Yeah, and that seems like a risky community to tick off when you're in that industry. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
it's a very very vocal community. Especially their fans. Their fans are very very vocal. So a lot of people have come out about this, but there's some great articles out there about how this doesn't just impact game developers, but also impacts the end consumer. So I'd recommend you guys seek them out yourselves and have a read them, because otherwise, if I just read them out, it'd be plagiarism.
we do not do that here.
No, no.
We are strictly a libel podcast.
And then the last one is just around Xbox. Huge leak from a set of documents that have been prepared for the court case in America with the FTC.
Okay.
So it was basically a load of emails, a load of presentations from several years ago, outlining what Xbox were doing. So let me just have a look here. So the top one that a lot of people have been talking about is Phil Spencer, who is the head of Xbox, wanting to buy Nintendo. Now, a lot of people have taken this like, oh my god, he's mad with power. Sam and I both work in very large organizations, and we understand that there's the thing aspirational goal setting here.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
he said he's obviously set himself a stretch target here of saying, I'll buy Nintendo.
It's like Apple saying that they're going to buy Disney.
Yeah,
that kind of.
Yeah. So I don't think it was ever really on in the cards.
But they wrote it down.
They wrote it down because it was an aspirational target.
Yeah,
you know. Exactly. They called Baldur's Gate a second run game because it wasn't going to be launching on the Xbox first.
Yeah.
People have taken that out of context as well. I'm not going to delve too deep in that, but some people, even journalists, just taking this to mean that Xbox believes it's a second-rate game. It isn't. It was a game that's not coming to Xbox first. That's what they meant by that.
Okay. This just goes to show that in like a PowerPoint presentation, there is very little room for subtext.
There is.
Did no one check the notes section within the PowerPoint presentation?
Then the next hardware revision for the Xbox Series X came out, and it's going to be a tube.
A tube?
The X tube? No, not the X tube. X tube
something else. That's something else.
That's something else.
I mean, I assume it is. I would have no idea.
Yeah. No disk on it. 1 terabyte hard drive, but the exact same internals. Well, revisions of the internals of this current Series X.
And it's going to be tube shaped.
It's going to be a tube. Yeah.
I don't hate that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's fine by me. People are using this though as the siren that the all digital future is now upon us.
That the disc is dead.
The disc is dead. I haven't bought a gaming disc in years. I know you still do it because you're
I love them.
a bit cheap that way.
Well, no, it's because I can also use them to keep magpies away from the outside of my house.
Exactly. Yeah. And then
I don't really do that. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah. Funny thing though, Jez Corden, the guy who analyzed all the documents and wrote up all this, a lot of stuff, put a little clarity around the different stories, because people were just searching through them. Like, there was thousands and thousands of pages in this. People were very surface level skimming them and then reporting different things.
Yeah.
Jez Corden really went through it. You should have a look at his X's, or whatever we're calling them these days. He has a proper breakdown of it, and it was funny because he was actually on vacation at the time. He was sitting by the pool,
nice,
on holiday, going through legal documents. But yeah, there's a good bit in there. And then the last thing, just on Xbox, Sea of Thieves, player versus environment servers are going to be going live. It's called Safer Seas. So at the moment, Sea of Thieves, if you want to play it, you are at risk of having your ship attacked by other players. This completely eliminates that, but it also reduces all the rewards you get by about 70%, so it turns it into a bit of more of a grind, a bit of more of a slog. You can still play with up to 3 other players, but there won't be any PvP in it.
So it's Sea of Thieves, Safer Seas. which
Yes,
is sounds like a tongue twister.
which is coming out as part of their season 10 roadmap.
Yeah.
So, load of different things, but that's the part that I zoned in on.
I don't mind that at all. I think that's always a good shout.
Yeah, but yeah, that's all the gaming news I had.
Well, I don't think I had any other gaming news to speak of. I think that covers pretty much all of our news for this week.
Let me just check my notes one more time.
You go ahead. You check your notes.
Those are the wrong notes. Here's the notes.
We can cut all this out. It's fine.
No, that's everything. That's everything.
I think we're covered off. So, should we go into something a little spookier?
Ooh, spooky.
And the only reason we're talking about this in September instead of October is because it's too scary to talk about Halloween things in October.
Plus, we're talking about books here, so we need a bit of runtime to actually read the things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and because you're a very fast reader, especially compared to me, because I'm fairly slow when it comes to the old paper.
Go on.
I don't.
Yeah.
This is the issue. I did not have to think about that.
So basically, what we're doing for this Halloween season, this spooky season of ours, is we've taken a look at our to read list and pulled out some books that we were going to read this Halloween season. Now, when I pulled out my books, I found that there was 3 in there that had a particular were in a particular subgenre, and that is haunted houses. Oh. So that's what I'm going to be going with. So the first one I'm going to be reading is How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. Now this is it's a comedy / horror book, so easing myself into it, not going too hard at the beginning. But it's also funny because it coincides with the return of a TV series on Sci-Fi called Surreal Estate, where a estate agent in America deals only with haunted houses.
Is this been? I've never heard of this.
So season 1 was out a few years ago. I thought it was cancelled, but it's coming back. It has a Eugene Levy's daughter, who was Darla, not Darla, the girl, the waitress in Schitt's Creek.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So she's in it. The guy who played Doc Holliday in Winona Earp is in it as well. There's a few famous people in it, but it's so it ties in nicely. So that'll be the show. That show will be returning in October, and then I will be reading this at the same time. They're not connected. They just happen to be of similar ilk. The next one I'm going to read once I finish that is 12 Nights at Rotterhouse by J.W. Ocker. So this is about a journalist. He locks himself in a haunted house for 12 days. He's a bit of a skeptic, and believe it or not, spooky things start happening.
Oh, so it's like,
but he's actually trying to make these things happen. So he's going through the different tropes. He's going through all the things that would in a horror movie would signify that there's a haunting happening. But so by doing that, he's actually triggering it.
So like 1408.
Yes,
that kind of way. Oh,
yeah,
very cool.
And then if I get through those, which I do plan on finishing those, I've never read The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, so I'm hoping to knock that out as well. All 3 are very short books, so I'm hoping to be able to get them all done within a month. And then as I go through them, I'll do a little discussion. And then for Halloween week, we'll be doing a little booktube on YouTube, where we'll just be discussing a little bit further.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So Sam, I believe you didn't have a theme, or did you?
Well, I did. It turns out I did. So my plan was that I want to read books that are the basis for Halloween movies that I really enjoy, or even ones that I don't really enjoy, but ones where I'd be interested to read the book to see what it's like. And I haven't read a lot like that in the past. Like, I think the only ones that I've read in the past would have been things like, well, one would have been like The Witches, which I think would be a nice one to revisit, just because even though they did the remake, which was a couple of years ago, which wasn't great. but like what I'm hoping I can do is like read the books and then kind of watch the movies alongside them. I think like going back to the '90s movie of the witches and then like reading the book as well, I think would be really good. What I'll probably do is, in honor of William Friedkin passing away, director William Friedkin, director of The Exorcist, I'm going to read the original The Exorcist, which is by William Peter Blatty.
Yes.
It was written in 1973. So I'm going to give that one a go. And because honestly, like with the Exorcist movie, I can't remember the last time I watched it. I can't have watched it more than once. And that's not to say that I didn't enjoy it. I just don't think I've ever gone back to it. But I'd like to kind of go back to it after reading the novel. There is also The Haunting of Hill House was also on my list. But what I might do instead is, because The Fall of the House of Usher is coming out on Netflix, which you don't have. I appreciate that. I might read now that's a short story, an Edgar Allan Poe short story, and I know that the TV show is kind of based in modern times. So it's going to be very different, but I think that would be a good comparison to do as well. Psycho is another one I'm considering. Mm-hmm. So original book, which was written by Robert Bloch, a few years before the movie came out. There's a movie that I watch from time to time, which is it's called Hitchcock, and it's got Anthony Hopkins as Alfred Hitchcock, and it's basically about him directing Psycho and like how he discovered the book and all this stuff. It's a little bit cheesy in places, but it's one I enjoy. So I think I'm going to read the original book and see how that shapes up as well. The only other one I was considering was Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire, because I watched Interview with the Vampire recently, watching Tom Cruise get all hammy as a vampire, which was loads of fun. So I'm going to give the book a go as well.
I'd be interested to get your feedback on that. I've read a few Van Rice's stuff, and I find them hard going.
Yeah,
but I'm just not clicking with the style. So I'd be interested to see what your take is.
I'm interested to see, because again, like I wouldn't have really visited a lot of Van Rice's stuff, and I know people who like absolutely love it. I know people who absolutely hate it, and I think that's that's a tricky one to navigate. I was considering some Stephen King ones, but to be honest, I've read a lot of those already. So like, even though The Shining is one of my absolute favorite like Halloween books to read, like still scares the crap out of me. Like that and Carrie and Pet Sematary, like they're ones I would have read already. So I want to kind of steer away from Stephen King. Just not that I don't like it, but like
So there's quite the list there.
Yeah, I think what I'll probably do is the ones I definitely want to read. I think I'll definitely read The Exorcist, and I will definitely read Psycho. Those are two I definitely want to read.
Yeah.
And anything else I can get in, squeeze in for that, I will be just a lovely little treat.
Yeah. And then for our listeners, I do have 2 recommendations.
And for me as well.
Oh, yeah, of course. But you've already got a full list there.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's 2 books that I think people will enjoy this Halloween season. One of them is a book called, sorry about this, The Reapers Are the Angels by Alden Bell. So this is very much a Catcher in the Rye style narrative set in a zombie apocalypse.
Okay.
Very, very well written. There's been sequels to it as well, but this particular book was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was excellent. The second book that I want to recommend is The Passage by Justin Cronin, which is a vampire novel. Also very well written, very, very great American classic descriptions and stories, because it deals with lots of different points of views across different parts of America before, during, and after a vampire apocalypse. So I recommend both of those books if you're looking for something to read, and the ones that we've mentioned haven't tickled your fancy.
And I will basically dogpile on this. If you want a different kind of taste of like, not so much spooky books, but kind of scary and kind of off-putting kind of stories, the Japanese writer Ryu Murakami He's got a few books out there. They're quite like transgressive kind
Mm.
of books, and kind of like in kind of style of like Fight Club or things like that. It's a couple of books that I would really recommend. They're quite short ones as well if you want just a brisk read. One would be In the Miso Soup, which is basically a tour guide in Japan who basically brings people through tours of like the sex districts, and it's this strange man that he's bringing on this tour, and something's not quite right about him. And another one is The Audition, which has also been made into a movie as well. I don't want to say too much about it.
I'm not familiar with either of them, so
other than it is a man kind of performing interviews auditions in his house, and something goes awry. I don't want to go into it more than that. But they are kind of brisk little reads, and they are really kind of uncomfortable, kind of shuffling your seat kind of stories. So
yeah.
I definitely recommend those ones as well.
Cool. Yeah, so I think that's it for our book part of the evening. Sam, I just wanted to catch up with you. What have you been watching last week or so? Anything new? Anything caught your fancy?
Well,
movie wise or TV wise?
It's funny you should ask that. Do you know what? Let me just pop onto my Letterboxd app. I want to recommend one movie tracking app over another, but
yes.
I do use it.
Balrogs and Blasters do acknowledge that other movie tracking apps do exist.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I watched, I guess, as well as movies based on books, I watched Meg 2, The Trench.
Oh, yes, I watched it.
Yeah. It did exactly what it was supposed to do, which was be a shark movie with Jason Statham in it. And that is pretty much all I can really say about it. Like it was good fun. That's all I'll say. Like it was good fun. It was brisk. It had more sharks and other creatures as well. And I'm all into like giant sea monsters and stuff like that. So that's kind of really up my alley. As long as that's all you need out of it.
Did you ever watch what was it called? Underwater?
Yes, I did watch Underwater with Kristen Stewart.
Yes, excellent movie.
That's a fantastic movie, and like the ending of it as well. Not to give anything away on it, because I do think you should watch it. Like, again, a really good like Halloween movie to watch.
The captain in that,
yes,
the French guy, is in Lahane.
Is he really?
There we go.
Oh my god, this thing has come full circle. And we didn't even mean to do that. That's fantastic. I enjoyed that. I also watched Blue Beetle.
I watched Blue Beetle as well.
Yes.
And I will have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay.
I can tell by your face that you didn't, but it was very much a traditional superhero movie. But it is let down, like all DC movies are, and in the latest slate of Marvel movies, by a very poor villain. Susan Sarandon was terrible.
Susan Sarandon is absolutely wasted in that movie.
She's wasted in it. She's like her acting. What she had to work with is what she had to work with. I get that. Why she was the only white woman in a completely, and she seems to have surrounded herself only with Latino men and women.
Yeah,
was a very strange choice. Seeing as she was obviously very racist.
Yeah, she was that.
Like she's. There's no one who works with her or for her who is not Latino in that movie. So it was a very strange choice. A strong Latino actor might have been a better choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was lighthearted, but not the goofy Shazam.
Yeah, I get that.
And it wasn't as dark as Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, exactly. It's midway between like Spider-Man and Iron Man. And it's interesting to say that about having like a decent villain like the essentially the Red Blue Beetle. He's a much more kind of complex villain in this, and like has a lot more to be doing. But
they also wasted him in having all that character growth in the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Oh yeah, just the most egregious use of a flashback I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
and I did think at one point, like Susan Sarandon, her character is so two-dimensional that I tried to make a funny thing out of it. I kept starting a line with Susan Sarandon's character is so two-dimensional but I couldn't think of anything to do after it. The only one I could think of is she couldn't be on a hardwood floor because she'd slipped through the cracks. But that's not good enough.
No,
I
no.
need to have a think about a better one.
You need to get on ChatGPT and workshop that a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Oh, and I also watched Speed Racer.
Yes, very sorry about that.
Yeah, I loved it.
No, you did not.
No, I didn't. It was so painful to watch. Oh man, like the only thing I say about that was I get that the anime of it is, you know, a kid who's really good at driving. He uses his skills to solve problems, and that turns into a 2-hour movie about corporate espionage. I don't know how.
Yeah, with you're my brother. You're not my brother. You are my brother.
Oh, don't get me started on the charismatic gravity well that is Emil Hirsch in that movie, and also Susan Sarandon is in that movie.
Yes.
And there's a really creepy moment. This is the last thing I'll say about it. So Emil Hirsch's character Speed is dating Christina Ricci, and his dad John Goodman is married to Susan Sarandon. There is one point in the movie where Christina Ricci comes out. You know, she has her kind of she has her triangular face. She has a very large eyes, and she has a little bob haircut. She comes out in like a kind of a cartoony dress. The next moment, Susan Sarandon comes out, triangular face, kind of larger eyes as well, and a weird bob cut come out, and a similar kind of dress. And at one point, I was like, "Is Speed Racer attracted to his mum? Is this a weird way of being able to date his mum?"
Yes.
It was absolutely bizarre.
Yeah.
Like I have so much I want to say about that, but I don't think there's anything new that I can bring to the conversation of Speed Racer. Just painful. Anyway, what about you, though, Patrick? Cleanse my palate with what you've been watching this week.
So a few things I want to talk about. First of all, last night I watched No One Will Save You, the new Disney Plus show or film. Sorry.
I'm so excited to watch No One Will Save You.
It's very good. The lead actress, for those of you who don't know, there's very little dialogue in this movie. I'm not going to go into spoilers at all, but there's very, very little dialogue.
Yeah.
And this actress, I'm not familiar with her previous work, but she carries it on her shoulders all the way through. And it's a very interesting film. Very much enjoyed it. Surprise! It was something that was in my list of stuff to watch, but I didn't know it was coming straight to Disney Plus day one. So quite happy with that.
So this is I've just checked there. So the actor is Caitlin Dever. So she was in Justified and Last Man Standing, and she was also in Dope Sick, which was that.
Yeah, and I haven't watched them. The only thing I think I've seen her in is Rosalind with Minnie Driver, and there's a few other people in there.
Oh, okay.
Was that the one with? Yeah. But that wasn't a very good movie.
Yeah, like if you watch the trailer for No One Will Save You, you'll kind of see the gist of it. It involves aliens and kind of a home invasion style situation.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really give that much else away.
The one thing I will say is the CGI is fair to middling. It's not going to blow your mind.
I'm guessing a lot of it seems like a lot of it's set in the dark. So I'd say that's...
Yes, where you see the aliens, it's mostly in the dark. But yeah. No, it was a very good movie.
Yeah.
Very much enjoyed it.
Well, it only cost, apparently according to this, I'm obviously on the Wikipedia, like it only cost 23 million. So you could see how that would kind of limit what they can do with the CG.
Yeah.
But I am hugely excited to watch this.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it will be like Space Meg.
No.
Okay, that's probably for the best.
No, it's much better than the Meg. Then moving off movies, because I really haven't had a chance to watch that many. I watched Blue Beetle. I watched No One Will Save You. The Continental. I watched it. Episode 1 dropped yesterday. It's 3-part miniseries. It was very good.
This is in the John Wick universe.
This is in John Wick universe, set in the 70s, basically charting the rise of Winston,
which is Ian McShane's character, right?
Lovejoy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that show? He was
Winston.
No, he did.
Oh, you're talking about Deadwood?
No. The guy who played Winston.
Yes.
In the movies, did a TV series, an English TV series where he was like an art seller.
I'm really enjoying you work your way through this.
And it was really good. I think it was called Lovejoy.
Okay.
It was really good, but that's where I always think of Ian McShane from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I always think of him from. God, what do I always think of him from? Oh, Kung Fu Panda.
There you go.
Very much a companion piece to Lovejoy, I'd say.
Yeah, and then we didn't get a chance to talk about it because I was out sick last week. But Lower Decks is back.
Yes.
Episode 4 of season 4 dropped this week. It was very good. There's an overarching story in this season about a mysterious spaceship that seems to be destroying other spaceships, but it hasn't come into the radar of our characters yet. So I'm looking forward to getting underneath that storyline.
Yeah.
I finished One Piece. It was very good. I did not. I gave up on the anime after about 40 episodes. I understand there's thousands of episodes at this stage, but what I saw I really enjoyed. There's talk about not Sigourney Weaver.
Susan Sarandon?
No,
oh, I know who you're talking about. Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes.
She is lobbying to get a role within One Piece now. I'm not. It's Doctor something in it. I don't know enough about One Piece to properly talk about it, but it's the mentor of the ship's doctor.
Okay.
In the anime.
All right, fair enough.
So hopefully she gets that.
I'll take any slither of Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, she was excellent. She's been excellent in everything she's done the last few years. Like
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, but she also did Scream Queens. I don't know if you watched that.
She did do Scream Queens.
Very much enjoyed her in that. But One Piece, excellent. Standouts, Inaki Godoy, I don't know how to say his name properly, who plays Monkey.
Yeah.
He is very good in the role. Everyone's really good. Emily Rudd, I think, is very, very good. She's got a real presence in the whole thing. She plays Nami.
Yeah, she takes a lot of the weight of like the character. What's the word I'm looking for? Not the character arc, but her redemption. Like she has a redemption arc in there. Not to kind of spoil too much about it,
but yeah, I don't want to. We might do a spoiler cast at some stage, because I have certain views about that, but it would really spoil episode 5 and 6 if I did.
What I will say about it is I do feel like, because as you say, like the actor who plays Michael D. Luffy is really good. I feel like part of what cinched the role for him is that when he calls out the moves he's going to do, it sounds like the anime. Like the way he says it is, he's got the right amount of like vigor behind it to really sell it.
And Jeff Ward as Buggy the Clown as well is also fantastic.
That was that was a bizarre performance from him.
But he went all in, and I think it worked very well.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where they sold like the spirit of the manga and the anime, and like you could watch that on its own. Like there's not so much of it that's like Easter eggs that you would need to know anything about what's going on in the original subject matter. But you know, they stayed silly with it. Like they have serious reactions to things, and it is kind of people with serious goals and ambitions, but they're also completely accepting this kind of weird world that's around them. And it's not like, it's not like with like Dragon Ball Evolution where they're trying to trying to pull out the kind of remnants of this world from the comics and the anime. That just doesn't really work. But they've put a lot of investment into making this thing look good and kind of have the right vibe. And I think they've
I think a lot of people were just going to be afraid it was going to be a pirate TV series with a little bit of silliness in the background.
Yeah.
But they've really nailed it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much all I've been watching. Just to wrap up this, get ourselves prepared for the spooky season.
Oh.
We have a little.
Patrick is donning his cape and his fangs.
No, we have a little tradition in our household where we basically just, the only movies we watch are horror movies for the entire of October.
Okay.
So I have my favorites. I have Trick or Treat. I have Halloween. I have the older stuff that I want to watch.
Yeah.
But this year there are 2 films on my radar that I want to watch. These are new watches for me. Yeah. There was 3, but I couldn't I couldn't hold back on No One Will Save You.
Okay.
So the first one is Talk to Me.
Oh yes, this is with the hands that
Yes, it's an embalmed
Someone's the
hand
dead.
that someone's the dead. It's your standard possession style horror.
kids playing with dark forces
Yes.
that they don't understand.
Yes, and TikToking it, which I don't really understand the TikToking, but there we go. So Sophie Wilde is in there. Miranda Otto. It looks really interesting. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And then the next one is, I was planning on watching The Last Voyage of the Demeter, but I decided not to because I haven't heard good things about it.
I am 100% going to watch it because, you know me, I love monsters and a boat.
Yeah.
Like normally I like them to be sea monsters, but I'll take a giant bat creature as well. You know.
Yeah, but what I will be watching instead is Haunting of the Queen Mary with Alice Eves.
Okay, I actually have never heard of this movie, but I saw you mentioned it the other day.
Yeah.
By which I mean it appeared
on our streaming services.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah.
So it's The Haunting of the Queen Mary explores the mysterious and violent events surrounding one family's voyage on Halloween night in 1938, and their interwoven destiny with another family on board the infamous ocean liner present day.
See, when I first heard about it, I thought, is this like an asylum situation where they're trying to catch people looking for like a haunting in Venice? But no, it looks like it could be really good. So I agree. I may give that one a go as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there anything on your radar that you'll be watching this
I think
spooky season?
I'm probably going to steal the tradition of your household and try to just watch scary movies this season. There are ones that in our house we will always watch. They're kind of more kind of PG level things like Hocus Pocus and
I still haven't watched the second one.
I haven't watched that one either. I might actually watch it this year to maybe as a double feature. But I tend to go back to like the original Halloween movies and things like that. I'm a big fan of Robert De Niro's Frankenstein. I suppose you call it Kenneth Branagh's Frankenstein, but Robert De Niro is Frankenstein in it. I always go back to that one as well, and maybe like a couple of Underworlds, a couple of Resident Evils. Keep it loose.
I still think Paranormal Activity, the first one, is well worth a watch. It's still incredibly spooky.
I accept that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I'll also definitely go back to Robert Eggers movies. So I'll go back to The Witch. I'll go back to The Lighthouse. Not really The Northman because it's not really a scary movie, but like him and Ari Aster, like the scary stuff that they've been doing is just next level stuff. I'm all here for it.
And I assume you'll be rewatching Morbius as well.
Oh,
is it Morbin time for you?
It is definitely Morbin time. My favorite thing about that movie is that my wife was really excited to watch it, and I neglected to tell her that it was understood to be notoriously bad. So she was very excited to watch it, and then she was a little bit annoyed afterwards, I have to say. I'm trying to think if there's a Halloween movie I can do that with this year, but they seem to have all been really good coming out recently.
Well, I don't know how good Insidious The Red Door is, although I do enjoy those movies, and I'm a big fan of Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson's reliable, I think.
Yeah, although you hate Rose Byrne, so
I don't hate Rose Byrne.
You despise her.
She was really good in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as Leatherface. Leatherhead.
Leatherhead. Yeah. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about.
I think.
Get out of my house.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've drained all the conversation out of each other.
Do we have any? We've nothing really coming up over the next few months that we had planned on going to Gamerfest and maybe doing a quick podcast from there, but it doesn't look like it's going to be likely. Me and Sam both have crushing responsibilities at home and work, so we won't be doing that. So we'll be doing our stand-up podcast, but we are looking.
That's where you do stand-up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Standard.
Oh,
podcast.
Sorry, I've always said stand-up.
No. But we will be doing our normal podcast, and we are looking, as I've said, to do. Sorry, something just flew my window.
We can cut that out.
No, we're keeping that in.
Okay.
We are looking to do bit more streaming on Twitch, on putting up some YouTube videos. I have one in the works of I've bought something stupid,
Yeah.
and that is my replacement Nixie clock.
Oh, that's amazing.
It for those of you who are listening, which is not many people at all.
Don't say that. Don't say
But,
that. Loads of people are listening.
Nixie tubes are clocks that they're vacuum tubes with filaments in them, and you can see the time. I have several of them.
Yep.
They're all broken.
Yep.
I do plan on doing repair videos on them in the future, but I'm waiting to get the stock in of the tubes. They're quite hard to get.
Yeah.
So what I've bought is a LCD replacement.
Oh, so it is. I'm actually looking at it right here, and I can see that's a convincing replacement.
Yeah. It can do a few different things, so I'll be going through that in the video.
Very
but
nice.
we'll also be, as Sam said, we'll be doing a Gargoyles Let's Play,
Yeah,
or whatever we're calling it, because I'm pretty sure Let's Play is IGN probably owns it.
Well, we'll say it in like a fun different language.
Yeah, well, yeah,
jouer.
Yeah, we'll say it in Irish.
Yeah. Oh, that's an even better idea.
Yeah. And then well, we're going to be expanding out, and thanks everyone to all the listeners who've been listening. We've had I've had a lot of response to my personal life. I don't know if Sam anyone.
No one talks to me.
No one talks to you.
Going
but a good few people in my workplace have said they're listening to the podcast, and that's great. And I can see it in the stats. And so big thank you to everyone for listening to us ramble.
Absolutely. And also we appreciate we're still playing around with like the microphones that we're using and all the tech that we've got set up at the moment. So episode by episode it's going to sound a little bit different, but every episode we're learning and getting somewhere. We're going to get to the point where it's just like we're right there next to you, just whispering things to you.
Yeah,
I actually felt like the episode I did last week seemed like almost like ASMR, because I felt like it came off as like
it was a madman's lullaby.
Yeah, it was like I felt like it was at 3 a.m. and I was on like a jazz radio station in a lighthouse.
It was very good. I quite enjoyed it, and also big thanks to Sam for stepping up last week when I was sick and being able to do the podcast on his own. It was a big success, I think.
Thank you for letting me kind of break into your house and sneak into your office to record. I'm kidding, I didn't do that. So I think what we can do is we can say you can visit us on our website, balrogsblasters.com. You can find us on Instagram and YouTube at balrogsblasters.
That's right. And as I said, we'll be putting stuff up on Twitch, because we haven't got anything there at the moment. You can't find it. So once there's something up there, we'll be doing the Balrog. We'll be doing not Balrogs, the Gargoyle.
They're basically Balrogs.
They're there. The Gargoyles playthrough there, and then we'll put the archive of that up on the YouTube site as well.
Yeah.
And then the Patreon site, we're still working on what the rewards are going to be, and we're going to wait for a little bit more listeners to show up. So once we have all that worked out, we'll get back to you. But also a big thank you to the 650 Instagram followers that we have. Yeah.
Oh man.
I've only been putting up very, very quick stories and reels.
Yeah.
Just to fill the time. But
they're great stories. I love doing that. I don't go onto Instagram for anything else other than seeing the stuff you're doing.
But we'll be putting up more there as well.
Awesome. But yeah. I think we're all done then. Thanks very much for listening, everyone. Bye now.
Goodbye.